Welcome to The Prize Inside, your favorite source for exploring the human potential through the stories of ordinary people achieving the extraordinary. These aren't just people exceeding physical limits. They're doing the impossible, and they aren't done yet. Are you ready to exceed your potential? Then join in now with your hosts, chiropractors Rochelle and Jeremy Myers and massage therapist Bunny.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Prize Inside. This is where we learn how to see ordinary people do extraordinary things. Today, we are going to discuss a few things, but before we start that, we got to do a list of our sponsors. Our first one is mypeakdirect.com. It is an online holistic store that will only carry top quality holistic products that holistic doctors recommend. It helps get the clutter of the internet out of the way. So when you don't know what to buy, this is a great site for us. It even allows you to ask questions to those and maybe help seek information on the top products out there. So there'll be tons of holistic products on here. It is going to be it's small right now, but it's going to keep building as we go. So visit www.mypeakdirect, MYEPEAK direct.com. You ever have trouble getting your life changed around physically? That would be a time for maybe a coach. So Dr. Rachel Myers and Amy Segerman offer 4 components to support you as you begin your journey towards lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. Your coach will be with you every step of the way. Studies show that having a support system can help you get better results. It's why each client gets paired with a coach to guide them on the path of optimal health and well-being. Our coaches are there to empower and encourage you in real time. They know the journey because they did it. They took it themselves, and they took me down it as well. 40 pounds different. So when you've been there the first, they know the struggles for women and men. The life you want is waiting for you. All you have to do is take that first step. So give them a call at 269-964-1441 and ask for Dr. Rachel or Amy, and let's get started today. All right, here we go. We're going to talk about a couple things today. This is one of our first podcasts on the journey of, I call it like Jeremy's brain, maybe. The amazing discoveries that have occurred in the last few years on health and human ability that we're just touching the surface on. So let's go back to this little cute. I got this cute slide with a girl and some what's that called? Dang it, the stuff you get. The cotton candy, dear Lord, cotton candy at fairs. Okay, so coming back from our last episode, I give you this story. So my kids, we kind of have what I call an open refrigerator concept where we don't restrict any of those things. We just don't have a lot of bad junk around, right? And so over time, I always tell this story because I love it. So over time, we've taught them what bad eating can actually feel like. So when my first story is on my oldest. We were going to her kindergarten class was at a school where you had to pass 2 things. There was a Panera Bread on one side of the road, and this place called Sweetwater's Donuts, which had these huge monster donuts, and it was like 24 hours, and that was on the other side of the road. So we'd drive in, and I would ask Allie, which one do you want to go to? Panera Bread or the donut place? And she would go, the donut place. I mean, what kindergartner wouldn't do that, right? So we'd go into the donut place, and I go, Allie, you can have whatever you want. You pick. man, so I can have 2 giant Long Johns? I go, yeah, you can. So I bought the 2 Long Johns, and we sat there, and as she's eating, you can see her face light up, those kind of things. And so she gets through. She did pretty impressive for a kindergartner getting through. I mean, these Long Johns were huge. So she gets through probably one, almost to the second one. So she gets in the car, and I say, hey, Allie, how you feeling? And she's like, not that great. I go, why? She goes, I don't know. I go, what could it be? And so we start our, what I call the Socratic method. Socrates got killed because he made people ask questions. So I was trying to make her ask the question, could it be the donut? I go, well, the sugar in there is a lot. And so after school, sometimes that might not be your best snack choice just to make you for feeling good, right? So the next time we do this every week, right? So we go by and I go, Allie, which one do you want? Panera Bread or the donut shop? Second time, of course she said the donut shop. But this time, instead of 2 Long Johns, she got 1. And then she ate half. And then she said, Dad, I'm still like, ugh, like after it's over. I go, I know. It's the tough part of eating all that sugar, So we kept working at it. And then about, give it stubborn kids, right? So about 4 or 5 weeks into this process, all of a sudden she said, I go, Allie, Panera Bread or the donut shop? And she goes, Panera Bread. And when we went in there, she's like, how about a salad? Because we talked about the benefits of all those vegetables and those kind of things. And so now she's like the salad queen, salad good eating kid. And it was one of the reasons is you got to learn on your own. The actions you take are within the framework is always you learning yourself, right? So that is the major key to a lot of those different things, and it teaches your innate ability to know what that feels like we talked about before. If you don't know what it feels like, how are you supposed to do something about it? So if you don't know you're full or hungry because that innate expression is gone, then you don't know. So that is how that goes. So I digress. I just wanted to to put that one out there before this one. But the reason all the writing occurred for me was because of the beginning of the pandemic. The pandemic to me was one of these things that was disheartening, to be honest with you, in the beginning. Not for what you think, though. The disheartening thing was, and it was worldwide, that you saw we weren't able to clearly think, and we were completely overwhelmed, almost by design. When you see that we have given up our control of our health to others, and others have taken that control and not really done the service that I think humanity deserves. That was really hard. It was really hard to watch. In my little small bubble, I know in chiropractic we educate on those values. So a lot of people I hang out with daily understood a lot of the beauties of health. Controlling, having your own, your self-empowerment through your health. But to see it on a global scale where we were disempowered was really hard on me. And that's one of the reasons why, as you go through it, you saw the struggle of us not having control of our health and vitality. We have deemed people above us to say that we're a bunch of parts and pieces, and that there's some kind of, trust the science. That was the biggest frustration of the whole thing. I'm the biggest science nerd, and when you say trust the science, that means one of the things about the beauty of science is the knowledge of that. And because we weren't giving that out, we were holding back on the science that actually was to us, only getting what they thought we needed. I'll give you an example. We put masks on people. We put isolation, but we didn't say, hey, you should probably look at your vitamin D3 level and make sure that you're taking vitamin D3 every day. How about vitamin C, zinc, all these different ones? That wasn't part of the worldwide thing. It was just be scared and don't do anything different. Don't try to live healthier, those kind of things. And that was mind-boggling because I thought that would be the first thing. I was actually excited in the beginning because we could prove to ourselves in the humanity that we can do this, and that's not what happened. And so that was when I knew, and one reason why I'm going to start doing these podcasts on a more regular basis. To my small audience, it's going to be small, but each one of you are going to touch somebody in your life. You're going to touch 10 people. And you're going to understand and be more confident of your health and well-being and what you can do for yourself, And so as we go through all these various pieces, I hope you get what I did out of my 20 years of chiropractic and my nerd brain that can't stop learning about the newest stuff out there. So we got to stop pretending, we got to stop pretending that, somebody else knows better for us, right? Only you are going to be able to control your health. You can have coaches along the way. You can have those kind of things, but you have the right, you have the absolute right to live your best life. And that we have to start going into. And this isn't just here. This is all over the world, really. That's why I love this. Today is always the best day. And we can truly achieve so much more than we have talked ourselves into, and that is the toughest part. So that's where my understanding. I was at first, I got mad at the establishment and all those good things, but then as you go forward, you're saying, all right, well, it is where we're at. That's it. I mean. Our knowledge of health should be way beyond this. We're dumbed down by the TV, which is true programming. We don't watch things that educate us, right? They don't seek out the knowledge. We're told what to believe and not educate ourselves. So one of the things that I challenge all of us is stop maybe just brain turn off, let somebody else tell you what to do, and actually dive in and research some of these different things that may be important to you. What if here's a good example, and we'll go into this in other podcasts, but let's say your family, you have a family history of heart disease, okay? How is it possible, and it is possible with the internet now, couldn't you go and do some research on that very subject? See what's good for you to eat, what is to stay away from, what are the best exercises for somebody that maybe have a struggling heart, and what does that look like? Everybody that comes in, they tell me they have these conditions, but I say, what are you doing for it? And it's something a doctor had said, not what they're doing, right? And that is a big difference. And so one of the things that is truly something we can control is understanding, getting our own knowledge. And that's where I want our journey to start beginning. All right. The chiropractic in our society has been whittled down to basically a procedure. We were told, it's good for back pain, headaches. It's this, we just pop this back into place and then that's how it goes. That is so far, that there's so much more to it, as you go, it's fascinating, that we would, and it's nothing bad, it's just the way it is, because chiropractic scientifically has been really effective at, let's say, back pain and headaches. And one of these days I'll get to, hopefully, do an interview with one of my favorite neuroscientists from New Zealand. She might let me get her on one of these interviews. You would love her. She knows. I mean, the science is there. those conditions are helped greatly by chiropractic. But one of the things it misses is the idea of chiropractic and the ability to bring back the perfection of the human body by what I call recalibration of the human body. So my job really has always been to put us back to the right calibration, right? Calibration. I love that word because when my middle school robotics team, we have to recalibrate the robot. That means kind of reset it to its best functioning spot. That's what we do. And so many things throw us off calibration. And that's what this whole podcast will be about. What are those different things that can offset our recalibration? Because our world is so massive on the different aspects and the different effects. You got traumatic events in your life. You have chemistry that's getting put on you every day. You have, relationship crises. Those kind of things will knock you off your calibration, off that original spot, and then we got to just get back to that, right? So that's where that is. I love the word calibration. It fits chiropractic in so many different holistic practitioner type situations that it's like perfect. All right, so here is where some of these calibrations can happen. So you have work, family, those kind of, all these different habits, okay? So let's go through a few that I have listed. So we have relationships, happiness, financial habits, time management, environmental, occupational, intellectual. These are all areas that can have you get decalibrated from the original perfection that is innate intelligence in the human body. And so some of these you don't have to do a ton, right? You can have your heart could pump just as good, but here's a good example. You can uncalibrate your heart by, I just witnessed it a week ago. I had a kid that drank too many Monster drinks, like 3 in a row, which is insane, the amount of crap that's in there. Ephedra, caffeine, massive sugars, and it gets you so up that he ended up having a seizure. He'd never, super healthy kid before, had a massive seizure, almost, and hurt himself pretty good. Almost a lot. He pretty much was going to not be able to do get his driver's license. So that was a big thing. Here's another good example. A kid, and they did a heart study where they put EKG, basically the heart monitor, on a kid that was playing one of those the first shooter games, internet or on video game. And when it got intense, that kid's heart was pumping as fast as if he was running from a lion or a 400-yard dash. That's a big deal because his body's not moving. So that decalibrates that kid. And what does that mean? We don't even know yet. In my opinion, what happens is those kids end up with extra fat because they are in survival mode a lot. So they're not, they're going to have different things, anxieties, not sleeping well, those kind of things. So these are the things we're going to look at going forward. But your chiropractor's role, or in our holistic, is to deduce what these decalibrations are. And it could be a ton of different things. You can get a headache from having a fight with your spouse or a crappy day at work, and it physically manifests itself as a physical problem, right? You can have your neck go out of place or out of alignment, or those kind of things based on that decalibration that's happened. So those are the things that we look for in chiropractic as we go forward. Now, this is my guy. This guy is named Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's wrote three or four books now, and they're all like bestsellers as soon as he does it. One of the neatest things about this guy is my wife, Dr. Rachel, and myself got to meet him in class for I think it was about a week training, but he had known one of our teachers at Palmer Chiropractic, and he came in as a guest lecturer because he was writing this book. And what he discovered And the new science that I'm going to be teaching you fits exactly into holistic thinking, but on a much broader scale. Now we understand genes in our DNA a lot different than we used to. Has this come to mainstream? Almost, sometimes, but there's a big stopping point. There's a big it's pretty massive what we have discovered. So one of the things, and I'll explain it here, is that we actually can change our genes. People are going to be like, you are full of crap. I go, no. The genes in and of itself are not what run our body, okay? Our body is run by our environment, which leads us to our environment is what's underneath our mind, our thoughts, our environment. That is what allows our genetic expression to happen. And so we'll go into that in further podcasts as well. But that key, understanding what I'm talking about environment, I'm talking about all the things I just listed, your work-life balance, all of those things physically manifest as genetic expressions. Okay? So that is a massive undertaking once you start thinking that direction. So those genes are just one of those things that you have to manifest, like as you go. We're not victims to our genes like that. And so the hardest part for all to manage most of the time is that we're not victims. We've been taught that. For decades, that we are victims to the genes that we're born with. And that probably has been one of humanity's worst moves that we've ever done. I'll give you an example. Your grandma and grandpa had rheumatoid arthritis, and then all of a sudden you find that out, you watch it, you witness it. What's your environment? Somebody with rheumatoid arthritis. So what are you seeing? Your environment is full of somebody with rheumatoid arthritis. Do you have the gene? Sure, you could, right? You probably do have a genetic expression for that. Does it mean you will do it? Depends. You actually have a choice. And that is the difference between understanding the body holistically and understanding it where we are a victim to what we are given, right? So think about that as we go forward. So here is one of my favorite examples. And, as we go through, imagine our body or our new baby coming out of the womb is a computer, okay? It's a brand new computer out of the box. With that computer, what would you just have just the computer? Some might. Some are pretty good at wanting certain things on there. But most of us would want a computer with a few programs already in it, okay? So those programs that are already established are what I would like to call your family inheritance of the genes that are expressed. So, for example, if we wanted a computer that runs Microsoft Word, right, we're going to buy a computer that we're familiar with, right, that has the Microsoft Word maybe on it already. So you don't have to program it in or download the program in, okay? If you were an Apple user, you do the same thing. You might want an Apple computer, right? So those are the different styles. It depends on what you're used to or what you're familiar with. So that family genetics out of the box from that little newborn infant has the programs on there, okay? So with a computer, though, are all the computer programs that you'll ever want to run on that computer? No. Over time, you're going to keep adding different programs that you use. All those different things will be on your computer. Memories, pictures, those kind of things. So my favorite analogy by far is and this is another great author. These guys are kind of out there as far as some of you might go, what are you leading me down this road of these books? But Greg Braden is another one. Greg Braden uses the analogy that we invent things that are like nature. Okay, so the computer is exactly, almost to the T, like a human body. There's an input, right? So you have all the input through your senses. That would be like your computer keyboard, right? You have an output, which is the monitor. And then you have all these programs that you can run, or genetic code, right? So that should make sense to you. So, but here's the kicker, that this changes everything, okay? So when we use that as an analogy, we're still at parts and pieces, right? You got a keyboard, you got a monitor, you got a, memory mainframe computer. But what is the difference? Somebody has to input on the computer. What is that? Who are you? You're the user, right? You're the user that puts in the stuff. The program just doesn't run by itself. What is that? That's us. That's the environment. That's our thoughts. That's our everything. That's our universe. That's our spirit. Those are the things that allow us to input, to use the programs. Hopefully that's starting to sink in a little bit as we go. I'm super excited to go on this journey with you guys because of this. This is so much bigger than we ever imagined. You can actually change your genetic expression on every level of environment. You can fix your own environment. You can be knowledgeable of your own environment. You know, as you go, those programs can be so much different. And how do we do that? We start to look at everything. We start to look at all those different pieces in my chiropractic world, in a deductive way. We say, all right, you can use the computer out of the box. The computer out of the box is perfect as it is, as long as we don't have interference to something. The power cord, those kind of things. Our job as humans is to remove the interference from the body working perfectly. How do we do that? And that will be the coolest part of our next, bunch of podcasts going forward. And I hope you truly, truly love them. So I'll stop there because I'm trying to keep them short each time. So thank you again for joining me this week. And one more thing. Remember that not everyone will reach their true potential, just those who seek it. Thanks.
Don't think for a second that this episode has reached its full potential, because we have plenty more for you on myers-chiropractic.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook and subscribe to the show on your preferred podcast listening service so you don't miss a minute of real stories, real people, and real results. We look forward to exploring the human potential with you next time, right here on The Prize Inside.